Hi, ECFE families, and welcome to Tasty Tuesday. This is the second part in our Week of the Young Children series that I'm doing this week. Today we're going to be talking about healthy eating strategies for you and for your children, how to figure out what it is that they should eat, how to get them to eat it, and how to have a great time while doing all of that. So I'm going to share my screen, a little screen presentation for you as we can go through, hopefully get some new tips for you today. Okay, now Tasty Tuesday isn't just about eating all your favorite snacks together, although that's very tempting in this time of the COVID to just eat all the quarantine snacks up. It's really going to be about cooking together, connecting math, literacy, and science skills with your kids while introducing them to ways to incorporate healthiness into all of their lifestyles and aspects. So what does healthy eating look like for your young children? Here's a couple of questions that I get from parents all the time. What and how much should my child eat at each size that they are? How can we foster positive attitudes towards food and eating? And when can my child be involved in the healthy eating process? Remember, for those of you who've been in my classes, we talk about there are 3 things that you can't make your children do. You can't make them eat, you can't make them sleep, and you can't make them go to the potty. So of those 3 things, as we're talking about eating today, we're going to get some different tools that we can use to hopefully help them make some better choices, and certainly to avoid some of the food traps that we may have fallen into when we were children and setting up our eating behaviors. So first, let's talk about what and how much your child should eat. Here's 2 great sources for nutritional information. Healthychildren.org is a site that's set up by the American Academy of Pediatrics. So they have some great things on there about how to read nutritional labels as a parent. What about GMOs and bioengineered foods? How does that figure into your eating plan as a family? How can you transition your child from maybe breastfeeding or bottle feeding into beverages? When do they may have milk? When can we start solid foods? What are some tips on how to do that successfully? How can we help avoid some of those negative food behaviors? And also another very objective site is actually the C2C site. Skip over the coronavirus stuff on the front page and go over to healthy habits and nutrition for children. They will list out for you the nutritional needs of children by age. They also have some great articles about vitamins and supplements for young children. Do you need them? Don't you need them? How you can help your child know when they're hungry, or maybe they're just bored, or maybe they're tired. How can we learn to recognize that in our children and help them get the tools they need to be able to recognize it for themselves? There's also some great information about food allergies and maybe safety concerns. When can you feed your children honey? When can they have hot dogs? Not that children should ever have hot dogs, but if you chose to feed them some, when are they no longer a safety concern for choking? So again, the CDC site and healthychildren.org are both great sites to give you some background information when you're looking at what and how much should my child eat. Because unfortunately, still about 27% of our children are overweight or obese. And we know that overweight children tend to be overweight adults. So we want to do the best that we can as parents to set up some good eating habits from the beginning. So here's the big one. How do we promote positive attitudes about food? I don't think that there is a parent who's had all of their children that have never had any problems with eating. Some of you might be blessed with very healthy, good eaters. We say they'll try new things. They seem to have a good appetite. And some of you may just spend the rest of your lives trying to figure out why your child won't eat certain food groups, why your child has to have things this exact certain way for mealtime. So how can we promote some more positive attitudes? We know that it's very important for you to eat meals together with your children. As you eat meals together, you can model some appropriate eating behaviors, also some appropriate attitudes toward that. Always remind parents that we need to be careful of our own negative reactions towards food. If you perhaps, like myself, I'm not a fan of peas, never have been a fan of little peas. So if I make your nasty faces and gagging noises when I see them come out on the plate, my children are going to pick that up from me, right? So we want to have healthy behaviors ourselves while we're eating at the table, and we're modeling those manners, and we're modeling those flexibility, ability to try some new foods and maybe prepare it in a different way, because our children are always watching, right? So we all need to also offer some fun, healthy snacks. Teacher Jen and I were just talking this past week about how when we were kids, our moms would try to feed us celery in unique kid-friendly ways. How many of you, your mom put peanut butter and raisins in the celery and called it ants on a log, or put cheese whiz, although now we know we shouldn't feed our kids cheese whiz either, but whatever that it took to kind of be able to get your children to try something new in a fun and sort of healthy way. Children love to dip things. Find some healthy dips for them, especially when they're young. Just change it up, I guess, so your children don't get bored with the same old things. We get bored with eating the same old things. We want to, again, teach our children to listen to their stomach, to start to recognize when they're hungry, and then put words to that so that they can tell us when they're hungry. And does your child want seconds? Maybe we need to teach them, like, hey, how about let's wait a few minutes and see if your stomach is still hungry for seconds, rather than just constantly giving them food right away. Just being able to train them with some good food habits. As parents and as grandparents, it's important for us to remember we need to give hugs and kisses for encouragement and comfort, not food. I think a lot of us would talk about, could relate that perhaps we were given food as reward for behavior, and that is not a good trap to be able to fall into with your kids. How about if we talk about where our food comes from? Or we can grow our own. It's coming to the season. You can start little seeds inside, be able to grow some things. We know the more kids are participating with the preparation, the selection of their food, the more likely they are to try it. And be flexible, again, in trying new foods yourself. Maybe you can have a taste test kitchen, and you could try a bunch of different healthy foods, all of you, your entire family, in some of this time. And then you can model some appropriate ways to be like, I can pass on that. Or no, you know what? That really did taste yummy. Your kids will pick up on those cues. Finally, this is a great thing you're blessed with. And small children, they love to help, and they love to help in the kitchen. So how do we cook with little tiny helpers in the kitchen? First of all, I'd recommend keep it simple. We're not going to have any souffles here or complicated recipes. Keep it simple when you're asking your child or allowing your child to come and help you prepare food in the kitchen. Let your child lead. Again, the more involved they are in being able to make choices from the beginning, the more likely it is that they will try whatever the food might be. Start with the basics of cooking and match your child's skills. And they may not even make them anymore, but I know that here in our kitchen, I have 2 little Pampered Chef knives that were for children that can't cut themselves with. My grandchildren love to cut stuff up with those little knives. So when they are young, perhaps they can use a butter knife to cut bananas or cut fruit. That would be a skill. Perhaps a little bit older, they can learn to pour liquids. So as we start with those basics, they can cut fruit, maybe then pour liquids. We can expand those skills as their development permits. So now they can cut the fruit and pour liquids. Maybe we can make smoothies, okay? Putting those skills together and building upon them with your child in the kitchen. Keep flavors plain. Most toddlers and preschoolers do not have a very wide palate. Some of you might be blessed with one, but for the most part, they just like plain food. So keep those flavors plain, and your child will be more likely to taste it and to like it. Prep and plan your menus ahead whenever possible. So this might be, if I knew that I wanted to make cookies with my grandchildren when they were especially young, perhaps I want to take out all the ingredients ahead of time, put them on the counter. Maybe I want to measure a couple of them already and set them aside in bowls. So it's just a little simple process. As they get older, my grandson Nathan is 4 now, so we can do counting and measuring together because he is able to do that, have a little longer attention span. I can do a little less prep with him now, and certainly less prep than I have to with Charlotte, who's going to be 2 in May. This is a great way to introduce literacy concepts or counting and measuring, of course, our math, Literacy might be you can read stories about food. How about stone soup? Most of us read that when we were young. We made stone soup in school. That's awesome. Make green eggs and ham. There's all kinds of websites and fun books are out there. Maybe you can cook recipes that they used to have on Little House on the Prairie. If there's a particular book or book series that your child likes, maybe you can find ways to pull food out of that and try it. Your child may be more likely to try it since he has a connection to it already from a story that he was reading. Also talk a lot about the names for foods and food concepts that might go along with that. We are having peas tonight. What letter does P start with? What makes that sound? So the P, I guess P is the letter that P's start with. But being able to talk about some of those concepts with your kid as you're having meals. And finally, invite your child to help you clean up as well. My grandson is particularly involved with water right now. He loves to help clean. He can just play dumping water from one thing to the next over and over again. So show your children that that's a part of the process too. We cook and then we pick it up once we're done. We get it all clean. So involve them from the beginning. They will love that. So here's some helpful websites that you can certainly take a look at. I'm going to post them in the comments section. The websites for CDC and for the AAP site are up here. Also superhealthykids.com and kidspot.com kitchen recipes. Both have great recipes that are very healthy and very fun to make with kids. I'm also going to put up a little taco cookbook resource in the comments section that gives you a little bit more. I'm going to see if I can pull it up right here. This will give you a little bit of ideas. Since it is Tuesday, Taco Tuesday, as I click through this little PDF, it'll talk about how you can integrate some learning along with cooking with your child in the kitchen. So I will again attach that into the comments. I hope that you have fun in the kitchen with your little ones this week. Stay well, healthy, and safe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye for now.